Alright, so today we'll be translating the boss headers in LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. If you don't know what I'm talking about, every time you enter a boss fight in TSS, a little title card spawns in with the boss's name along with a little piece of text written underneath in the Star Wars Aurebesh language. I thought it would be fun to translate them from The Phantom Menace all the way to The Rise of Skywalker. This is only for the story bosses, by the way. If you want to skip to certain bosses, then check out the timestamps in the description below or on the little playback bar. Also, don't forget to subscribe. Darth Maul's header says "Red Dude with a Bad Attitude." I like this, and it's a pretty cool nod to his arc in the Clone Wars and Rebels. For those who don't know, Maul survived his fight with Obi-Wan in The Phantom Menace due to his hatred fueling his dark side powers. In much simpler terms, Maul has a grudge against Obi-Wan that lasted for many years, and that grudge acted as a gateway to keep him alive all this time. Real clever what the developers did there. Next, Jango Fett's is pretty straightforward. He's the donor for the clone army. Like I said, straightforward, but if you want an actual explanation, he allowed the Kaminoans to clone his DNA and create an army for the Republic. Count Dooku's reads, "never loses his head." This has to be a cool double meaning because it's always presented as a really calm and collected gentleman, but if you watch Revenge of the Sith, this piece suddenly becomes very ironic. General Grievous says "more sabers than sense," which is a clear reference to his obsession with collecting the lightsabers of the Jedis he's killed. He's also part droid, and droids aren't really known for their brains. Episode 3 Darth Sidious is also known as the Senate. This actually has more meaning behind the obvious "I am the Senate." In Episode 2, Senator Binks handed over emergency political power to Chancellor Palpatine. Coupled with his influential behaviors and actions, Palpatine quite literally became the Senate by the time of Revenge of the Sith. It's also just a huge meme amongst the community. Anakin Skywalker is an ex-pod racer and current Sith apprentice. This honestly highlights his fall from grace in my opinion. Being a slave from Tatooine, winning the pod race was the only thing able to set him free. Unfortunately for Anakin, he eventually went down the dark path and became a slave once again to the dark side. Dianoga says "keep one eye open." Not much to say about this one other than, yes, the trash compactor monster is a boss battle, and it has a name. Darth Vader loves the dark side, hates sand. His anger fuels his powers throughout the original trilogy, and his hatred for sand stems from being a slave on Tatooine. Not to mention how coarse, rough, and irritating it can be. Plus, it gets everywhere. The Rancor is Jabba's pet monster, Patissa. This is just a cool piece of lore because it actually tells us what the Rancor's name is. How many of you viewers knew that? Boba Fett claims the title as the galaxy's most infamous bounty hunter. If you really need more info than that, Boba Fett was a cold-blooded killer who worked for the Empire. Enough said. Jabba the Hutt says "crime lord of the Outer Rim." This is a nod to how Jabba is basically the head honcho of the crime syndicate. His main base of operation is in his palace on Tatooine in the Jundland Wastelands and Mos Espa, but his reach extended all the way around the Outer Rim. Episode 6 Emperor Palpatine. Emperor, Sith, Senate. Pretty straightforward. I'm just surprised that they didn't include his Chancellor title in the mix. FN2199 says "traitor!" Captain Phasma, also known as Chrome Dome. This was the nickname and insult Finn threw at Phasma in The Last Jedi, taking a stab at her chrome-plated helmet. Kylo Ren has some serious daddy issues. I think this one also has two meanings. The most obvious is his relationship with Han Solo and the fact that he kills him off in Episode 7. The second meaning I'm thinking of is how Kylo Ren constantly idolizes and looks to the spirit of Darth Vader, his grandfather, for advice. Luke Skywalker asks, "Did you do it?" Praetorian Guards, Red Guard Redemption. This also has a double meaning to it. My initial thought is that it's a play on of the Red Dead Redemption video games, but another thought that I had is that these guys are basically the successors to the Emperor's Royal Guards. The Sovereign Protectors. They protect, but they also attack. This is just a total reference to the protect and attack meme templates on the internet. Knights of Ren. Friends make the worst enemies. Kylo Ren was once associated with the Knights of Ren, meaning they must have been relatively close, right? Well, when Kylo redeemed himself and returned as Ben Solo, this meant that he turned against the Knights of Ren, making the former friends enemies. BB-9E is the First Order BB series astromech droid. That's a mouthful. Very straightforward, and he's just the antithesis to the BB-8 droid. BB Boss is BB-9E's big brother. He's just a big turret operated by BB-9E, but the triple Bs make me think of a droid version of King Dedede from Kirby. Alternatively, I guess it does stand for Big Brother Boss. And honestly, that probably makes more sense. And finally, we have Episode 9 Emperor Palpatine. Yes, him again. This is a nod to how the Emperor was the big bad villain of all 3 trilogies, and that fateful line in The Rise of Skywalker.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
Well folks, that's all I've got for you today. If you enjoyed this, then please be sure to like and comment your suggestions for future videos. I read every single comment, including replies. Also be sure to subscribe since we are so close to hitting 1,000 subscribers. Thank you so much for tuning in, and as always, I've been your host, signing off.